Midday market report. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. If you would please hit that like button, it would greatly help push this through the analytics and help push this content. We have a lot of stuff going on today in the markets. We've got a little bit of a reversal in the Dow, the S&P. As we can see, the DXY is down, US 10 years up, but the crude, gold are under pressure. However, silver is still on the upside here a little bit. So silver's found its way rallying still just a tiny bit, even though gold has found itself down to start the day. So that's always something to watch out for. But anyhow, I do appreciate everybody tuning in. I want to timestamp this, and then I want to get on to this live. Mick, welcome in. So good early afternoon, 1:38 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Monday, October 30th, 2023. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Devin, welcome in. Sully, I appreciate you for tuning in. Had to wipe that screen off a little bit because it is just about 38 to 40 degree range right now in Michigan. Maybe a little bit warmer now. It was 40, but I think it's going to be a little warmer than that right now. Not much, 42, yeah. So it's still pretty cold here in Michigan. So I want to go over this real quick. JW, good afternoon. I hope you're having a blessed day, my friend. One of the longest time viewers. Roger, good afternoon. Hola. I know I missed one person, but I'll get to it. The Dow Jones is up 485 points to 32,903. As of right now, it did not break through this support level at 32,580. It's used it as a support. So the two things that can happen is if it were to use 32,580 as a resistance, you'd come down to the broadening wedge around 31,000. If you can hold this as a support, you have to rally back up to 33,900 to start pushing back out to the top side of the broadening wedge. Right now, this looks like a long leg doji in the formation, which means we could be bearish in this area, and we might be testing a reverse rally in the daily time frame to 33,300. The one thing that's going to come first, though, is right here. This is what we're lining up, a date with destiny here. If you get rejected at 33,101, that's very bearish. So, but you could say we're starting with some kind of recovery here. They're pumping the markets up. So, like we said before, as long as the Federal Reserve is the buyers of first and last resort, anything can happen in the markets. Backyard Tractor, good afternoon. Welcome in. Good evening, Mo. I'm glad to see you in here again, once again, my friend. And please, everybody, make sure to hit that like button and share this. Consider sharing this to help push us through the algorithm. Mark, welcome in. I'm glad to see you in the Midday Market Report. We've got the U.S. dollar. Now, the U.S. dollar fell a little bearish to start the day. It's funny with the way the U.S. dollar is. Is that a W reverse or is that a fake out? We're on the bottom side of the rising channel. So it's either this is going to play out as a huge W reversal, which is in the daily time frame if we start looking, or in the 4-hourly, it's starting to break down a little bit. But if it does break down to like 105.71 area, isn't that just putting in a right arm if it does hold? This could have been a huge fake out, and the U.S. dollar is at a very interesting point right now. It does look like a wide W, though, to me. So I think unless we lose, like we've been saying, if 105.71 drops, that'll invalidate the structure. But if we end up holding that area, it very well could run up to 109. We don't know when it's going to fall, but we know it's going to fall in the end. So it's risky. It's risky to bet, on it going parabolic, but it's also risky to bet against the government. So are they going to let this fall now? Or are they going to start pushing it back up? Right now, we'll find a lot out right here when we start meeting this 200-day in the 4-hourly. That's about 105.82. So that's what we have to watch out for. Very hardcore. Has anyone noticed XRP circulating supply increased 120 million last week and price did not move at all? Yes, I did notice that, MDF. And thank you so much for the $20 donation. That was incredibly generous to slip that in there like that within the question. Thank you so much. Really, that means a lot to me. More than you all know. Paying it forward. But yeah, I noticed that when they added to the circulating supply, we didn't have a move. But what do we say every month, everybody? This is what always gets me. Every single month we talk. And right now we're going to be adding 1 billion into circulation again. So we'll see what happens in the market, but I'm not going to really discuss XRP in this update. This is more the midday markets. I've already done a nice update this morning. I did a short before, and I'm going to do a live later. So we know exactly where we're at with XRP, but we got to find out the rest of the market too. The US 10 years are up 1.1% or 0.05 basis points, back up to 4.89%. And if this runs up, that's going to tell you the US dollar probably is falling. But who knows? Are they going to let this continue moving up right now to 5.07? I'd like to think so. I'd like to think so, and then ultimately higher. No one's buying this right now at 4.89. If it's coming down, that means people are throwing money into it, aka the government. So I expect this to go up because right now there's no interest in the government bonds over 10 years, not at 5% or 4.89%. Not when you can get over 5.25 for a much lower yield time. The U.S. crude, good day, Infamous. Welcome in. I really appreciate you tuning in. Where was I at? Crude oil is down 3.13% or $2.65 per barrel priced in U.S. crude. And now we've fallen below this area. We talked about the $77 mark many times because that would retest. We had a first handle cup, second part of the cup and handle. If you wanted to come all the way down, we talked about how this first tier, we could come all the way down to $77. And that was on, that's not a guarantee to come way down here. I'll put it on here. But this is only because of what the U.S. government themselves said. The government said we're going to try to get closer to $70 a barrel. Well, if that's their case, they sure as hell can do it. Everybody thinks to go long and they'll just send it short. And that's what it looks like is starting to happen. Because that's a pretty big break. However, if this pulls up any farther, we came down to 81, 86. Let's say we ended at like 83.79. That'd be a nice hammer candle. But right now it looks like it's starting to decline on a bear flag. So we're going to see if they really push it down to 77 or closer to 70, or we can start pushing up. CJ2 Pilot, good early afternoon. Yeah, stay positive. Positivity is the key. Positivity over negativity. It helps you stay in the clear mindset. We've got the gold-silver ratio at 85.666. That's only because silver's rose a little bit, about 1%, and gold is falling about $7 or 0.35%. The gold-silver ratio, as of right now, just can't seem to get past this rising channel area at 88.17, but we're coming back down for validation at 84.52 like we talked about at the end of the week last week. That's the most likely route if we're going to hold, and then we can break up higher, but we've got to prove this level of consistency. Right now, we just don't have it, but it looks like a hammer candle could be in the making here, so let's not count this out just yet. OMC, welcome in. Thank you so much for tuning into the Midday Market Report. I love everybody who tunes in. I really do. Gold's down $7 or 0.35% to 1998.91. Gold's still on the top side, but as we said, our technical target, and it didn't happen here. It fell down, but when you break this formation, the technical target was 2009 if you broke to the upside. And now, as you can see, we broke to the upside. We hit 2009, and now it's one of those things we're squeezed. 2009 and below, we've got 1981. So we've got that much leverage right now to stay bullish, and then we ultimately need to break 2009 to start pushing that 2075. But right now, gold, it's really doing the opposite of the dollar. However, today with the dollar coming down, it's quite interesting that gold ended up having a bad day. You had B2 gold down 0.46%. We talked about it on Friday. It's the time to buy a little bit here. I've got a $5,000 to $7,000 gold with B2 gold, and right now is the time to drop $2,000 right here. It just is. It's done the V-shaped recovery. It's got a 20 cross in the 50 with the daily. We're back within this formation, and everything is starting to speak that maybe, just maybe, we're going to reverse. I would like to see us on top of the 200-day, but when I start seeing inverted hammers here, it gives me a little more hope. Like on this 4-hourly, that's an inverted hammer, which means we could be running out of steam to the downside, and there's a lot more upside pressure than it's leading to believe. The daily's showing the same thing. So if you're interested in B2 gold, there was an opportunity where we thought we might get 240. The other solution here was to buy it when we got the validation in this formation and then ride it all the way up to about $4, which is about a 25% move. But it's going to take time. It's not just going to happen in a day. But you're looking at better than 25%, just depending on where you buy it. So it's up to you to do that. I did buy $2,000 today worth of B2 gold just because of the formation it's on, and it's paying a 4.96% dividend. If it goes down, it goes down. and I'll judge accordingly, but I'm not planning on reading this anytime soon. So I've got 2 more equal buys lined up if it were to come down to the other levels. But right now it makes me a little nervous that we could be starting to make this rotation back up, just like silver. Same thing. Silver could be making that same rotative move. Instead of doing the down route, it ended up in that circle. Instead of continuing down, it came up, and instead of getting rejected on the former formation, it came right back up and used it immediately as support. This could have just trapped all the short players here, honestly. If the US dollar is coming down, the metals are going to explode. And the move for silver would be $28.31 on a positive move up. So that's what we'd be looking at. We need to have this fill out first. And it could take all the way until, if you play this truthfully, because this is the breakout outside of the initial breakout. So this is very important. This is to confirm the breakout. And we had a beautiful V-shaped recovery now. So let's consider what's going on here. It's taking the 25% route right now is what's happening. And I'm not surprised because of the current economical environment. And it looks like we put in a small inverted head and shoulders here now. Very small. Very, very small, but it's there. So I might as well point it out. Just here, boom, 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 back up. That would be an inverted head and shoulders here. And you could finish it off by coming in here. And it actually pulled down again, too. Look at this. It pulled here. Now what if you came through here and broke out? Now, that could be a way out. Or you just fill this through and say, hey, we still got to go all the way through there and see where the potential break or down would be. And that could pull you all the way until March of 24. So we shall see. We shall see, but I wouldn't want to be on the outside looking in with precious metals. That's just me. And then I want to go over this very quickly here. What's actually going on in the markets. I appreciate 52 people viewing, 34 likes. Make sure to hit that like button, as it does greatly help push me through the analytics. More than anybody ever knows. So stocks rallying to start the week with the Dow now up 400 points. The S&P 500 tried to climb out of corrective territory. And in the comments, do you appreciate the midday market report daily? Is it too much? Do you like how I go over the charts and then at the very end I do a quick reading through what's going on in the markets? Or could you miss this altogether and not care? Mario, welcome in. Russell, I really appreciate you tuning in to the midday market report. Tracy says, follow the leader. Russell, we love it. Thank you, Russell. OMC, welcome in. Thank you so much. Alexander, you snuck in here as well when I was just talking away. Traders brace for a big week filled with a Federal Reserve rate decision. Or the S&P 500 tried to climb out of correction territory Monday as traders brace for a big week filled with the Federal Reserve rate decision. And that's going to be interesting this week. We could have a federal rate hike. It is coming into play now. It'll be November. Jobs report and Apple's earnings report. The broader index advanced 0.9%, while the NASDAQ composite jumped 0.8%. The Dow Jones Industrial gained 436 points, or 1.3%. Communication services stocks outperformed with the S&P 500 sector, last up by 2%. Mega caps tech stocks, Alphabet and Meta platforms were up about 2% each. Those moves come after the S&P 500 fell into correction territory last week. The broader index shed 2.5% for the week, to put it down by more than 10% from its 2023 closing high. It's off 3.2%, or 3.2% for October. Miss Vicky, welcome in, love. I greatly appreciate you tuning in. Alexander, thank you for, I think it said Thailand. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love it. On pace for its 3rd straight negative month, which would be its first since such streak since 2020 as the blah, blah, blah struck. The Treasury Department on Monday is set to issue its quarterly financing estimates, an economic statement which outlines the government's borrowing needs for the next 3 quarters. We have war confirmed, though. Netanyahu in Israel said, we are all out war. We're not receding. We're not standing down. So it's all out. Printing presses will be wide open. Expect the markets to likely go crazy at some point, as the U.S. is going to be able to spend into oblivion just like they like. So now our kids' future has been even more mortgaged, so now their grandkids also don't have a future. So, this is the best you'll ever see in the USA for our lifetime. What you see now, and it's not nothing. You got people leaving our country that aren't foreigners that are getting paid by our government. You have people that came here legally from other borders that aren't getting those government assistance and the handouts that going back to their own country. That's happening a lot more than the U.S. likes to talk about. What's not happening is we get a lot of freeloaders that come here because they just hand out the money to the illegals, which outlines the government's borrowing needs for the next 3 quarters. In July, the last time the Treasury, but I can't talk. I'm getting too close to risky territory. You can't talk about the truth, you know, so got to stick within the crypto. Treasury released its statement. The amount of borrowing surprised markets. Investors are hoping expectations are more fully priced in this time around. The Federal Reserve decision looms Wednesday when the central bank is widely expected to hold its benchmark interest rate at the same level, with surging interest rates as the main culprit of this stock market correction. Are we so sure they're going to hold it? Or are they going to use the war, use the economy, and use all this other stuff as a reason why it's okay to raise interest rates? Just pay attention to that narrative as we get a little bit closer to midweek. Investors will be hoping the Fed signals it could be done raising rates. Not going to happen. Traders expect the Fed to be done raising rates at least for 23. Also, I find that hard to believe. Whilst we have a Fed meeting, the consensus has never been clear that they're not going to do anything at this particular meeting, and that'll be back-to-back meetings of them not raising rates, said Art Hogan, chief market strategist at B. Riley Financial, who I think that may signal that the cycle of raising rates is over.
How you doing?
Oh, yeah, cool. Thank you. I was hoping someone would take that before garbage day.
Yes, sir.
Huh? Oh, no, I was saying I was hoping someone would take it. I put it out here so someone could...
Yeah, just get good.
Oh, okay. Glad you could use it. He said, I think that this may signal the cycle of raising rates is over, and I think that likely helps to sort of stop that parabolic rise we've seen in Treasury yields. I think if we see rates plateauing here for a bit, that would certainly usher in some good news, Hogan added. The 10-year Treasury yield jumped about 5% to start last week, but it traded around 4.89% on Monday. Friday will bring the October jobs report with investors hoping for some slowing. And real quick, while I have your attention before we end this, do you think they're going to raise rates or stay the same again? Just a simple consensus. Do you think they're going to raise rates or do you think we're going to stay the same? The 10-year Treasury yield jumped above 5% to start last week, but it traded around 4.89% on Monday. Friday will bring the October jobs report with investors hoping for some slowing in the labor market that will allow the Fed to feel comfortable with staying on hold the rest of the year. Apple will report earnings Thursday after the bell. The S&P 500's largest member is in correction itself, down 15% from its 52-week high. Raise, yes, part of the plan. Froze up our restart. Raise, Tracy says, Mo says raise. Hey, True, welcome in to the end of the market report. Regional bank stocks were outperforming on Monday, even as the 10-year Treasury yield moved higher once again. The SPDR and S&P Regional Banking ETF, KRE, was up 1.3% in afternoon trading. And then the Dow rallies at tail end of a difficult month. On Monday, as the index regained some ground near the end of a tough month, the 3 stocks climbed more than 3% in session, helping the blue chip average advance about 1.5% as a whole. Intel was the only stock of the 30 in the index on pace to end the day lower. Despite Monday's rallies, the Dow is still poised to end October 1.8% down. Equities trend are currently neutral to returns, according to Raymond James. Under current market conditions, Raymond James forecasts modest headwinds for the S&P 500, whereas the S&P 400 mid-cap index may see modest tailwinds across economics metrics, with the highest... I don't give a shit about any of his hearsay. S&P 500 oversold balance may not last long, chart analyst. Again, we've already got the information we want. And then this is the only other thing I wanted to read right here, and then I'm going to go inside because it is cold. Treasury quarterly financing news due this afternoon. Markets will be watching closely Monday when the Treasury Department issues its quarterly financing estimates. That's at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, so about an hour and 4 minutes from now. The announcement will detail the government's borrowing needs for the next 3 quarters and how it sees financing conditions unfolding. Look out for that because they're going to ask for a lot of money. The announcement will detail the government's borrowing needs for the next 3 quarters and how it sees financial conditions. I mean, it's going to be a mess. Last time the Treasury released its statement in late July, markets were surprised by how much borrowing the government would need, and yields popped soon after to their highest levels in 16 years. I expect the exact same thing to happen. Markets are hoping that expectations are more evenly collaborated this time. How would it be less, though? Now all that money we borrowed, we have to pay the higher interest rates back. I mean, it makes no sense, these people's logic. Oh yeah, we're just paying the interest rates, but we expect the overall principal to go down, even though it's going up because the interest rates are higher month over month. So the accumulating debt is accruing month over month, year over. I mean, it makes no. On Wednesday, the Treasury will release its refunding statement, which will set auction levels and dates. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. If you got anything out of this, please make sure to hit that like button. Consider subscribing and joining the over 18,000 beautiful people we have in this audience. And if it's within reason, consider joining Tom's Army to pay it forward for the time I put in, or you can send a YouTube super chat. Have a blessed afternoon, everybody. I'm going inside. I think we covered every single thing we needed to. Stay blessed, and I'll see you tomorrow on the Midday